This video will cover part of the unit circle and quadrantal angles. So first we're going to find the length of each side of the special right triangles if the hypotenuse or radius is 1. So first let's just look at our 30, 60, 90. Normally we have a hypotenuse of 2, but what if we want to scale it down so the radius or the hypotenuse is 1? So then we can fit it into this thing called the unit circle. So we're going to divide everything by 2. So that means that our new values are hypotenuse of 1, long leg is root 3 over 2, and short leg is 1/2. Then with our 45, 45, 90, we're going to scale this down so our radius is 1 so that we can then fit our 45, 45, 90 into the unit circle. So we're going to divide everything by root 2. Now if we divide by root 2, we get this ugly fraction that we need to rationalize. Multiply by a fancy form of 1, root 2 over root 2, and we get root 2 over 2. So our legs become root 2 over 2, and our hypotenuse becomes 1. Now let's draw these in on our unit circle. Might help if you color code these. I'm going to draw my 45, 45, 90 in red, just so I can see where these values are coming from. Here's my 45, 45, 90. So the only angle we really care about is this reference angle that comes from the center. It's made by the x-axis and the terminal side. So we're going to put in our x value, which would be this root 2 over 2, goes right here. And our y value is the vertical distance, this leg, root 2 over 2. And then our hypotenuse is always 1 in the unit circle because this unit circle has a radius of 1. Next, let's put our 30, 60, 90 in here. So we'll use this version of our 30, 60, 90, the one that has the longer side flat. We're going to draw in that triangle right here. Our reference angle is 30 degrees, and our y value is 1/2, and our x value is root 3 over 2. So it turns out that we can find all the values on the unit circle using these special right triangles. Now, what are the xy coordinates of the points at 0, 90, 180, and 270 degrees. So thinking about this as an xy plane, if we go over 1, this whole distance is 1 because the radius is 1, then our x value is 1 here, our y value is 0 because you're not going up or down. Up at 90 degrees, we have a x value of 0 and a y value of 1. At 180 degrees, we have an x value of -1 because we're going to the left 1, and a y value of 0. And at 270 degrees, we have an x value of 0, y value of -1. Now, these are called the quadrantal angles. Now, they're very special because we can't draw special right triangles because we would get 90-degree angles or 0-degree angles made with the x-axis. So we have some special rules for these. Quadrantal angles are on the x or y axes, the borders of the quadrant, which means we can't draw triangles. Since all the triangles' hypotenuses are radii in the unit circle, they all have a length of 1. And remember how we reduced our original triangles? We might notice that our x value, root 3 over 2, is the same as our cosine value if we were in our original triangle. So a over h would get you the same value, root 3 over 2. Same thing with the y value. That should look familiar. We've seen 1/2 a lot. So if we take the sine opposite over hypotenuse, we would get 1/2. So the x value is the same as the cosine ratio, and the y value is the same as the sine ratio. Now, you might be wondering, well, what's the tangent ratio? So let's see. Well, the cosine is the adjacent over the hypotenuse, and the sine is the opposite over hypotenuse, how might we get the tangent opposite over adjacent from these two values? Well, we need to divide them. So if we do sine over cosine, we get opposite over hypotenuse over adjacent over hypotenuse. You can flip these fractions, opposite over hypotenuse times hypotenuse over adjacent. Our hypotenuses cancel, and we get opposite over adjacent. So something you can memorize is that cosine is x value, sine is the y value, and that tangent is sine over cosine, or y over x. So now let's find the 6 trig functions for 90 degrees. Now the 6 trig functions are sine, cosine, and tangent. And their reciprocals: cosecant, secant, and cotangent. So let's start with sine. Sine of 90 would be our y value, so it's just 1, because our point is 0, 1. The cosine of 90 would be our x value, that's 0. And the tangent would be y over x, or sine over cosine, which would be sine over cosine 1 over 0. So that is undefined. We cannot divide by 0. Next, we'll do our reciprocal functions. So first we have the cosecant. Cosecant is opposite of sine. Think they have opposite letters, so they're reciprocals. So cosecant of theta would be 1 over our sine value, which is y. So 1 over 1 here, that would be 1. Secant is our reciprocal of cosine. That would be 1 over the x value, or 1 over 0. That is also undefined. And finally, the cotangent would be x over y, reciprocal of tangent, which would be 0 over 1, which is 0. Now, try to find the 6 trig functions for 180 degrees on your own, then unpause the video when you're ready to check your answers. So at 180 degrees, our coordinates are -1, 0. That's all we need. Our cosine value is going to be our x value, which is -1. Our sine value is going to be our y value, that's 0. Our tangent value is going to be y over x, or 0 over -1, which is 0. Next, we'll do our reciprocals. The secant of theta is going to be the reciprocal of cosine, so 1 over x. 1 over -1 gives us -1. Then we do the cosecant of theta, which is 1 over sine, or 1 over y. That's 1 over 0, which would be undefined. Next, the cotangent, which would be x over y, the reciprocal of tangent, which is y over x, so x over y, would give us -1 over 0. That is also undefined. Thank you.